Hi there. Welcome in our first of series on Office 365. This particular module is going to cover what you do after you've set up your tenant. You've gone through the different pages where you put in your name, your phone number, the domain that you want in front of the onmicrosoft.com, and then you go in and you do your verification. And then once that's all completed, you're at your portal, your main page in your portal. What do you do now? We're going to cover that now. I'm going to show you how to insert your Vanity domain and get your DNS records set up so that you can start mail flow to your particular Office 365 subscription. Now, this only applies to those subscriptions which include email. So it doesn't include the business subscription, and it doesn't include Office Pro Plus. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, when you go to set up your trial, one of the first screens you're going to see is this welcome, let's get to know you. Basically, the fields that you put in are pretty self-explanatory. There's not a whole lot that is confusing here. Now, when you go from there to this screen, this is where you're going to put in the Vanity domain, so to speak, or you're going to put in a domain here that's unique to your tenant, and that's going to be what's in front of the onmicrosoft.com. You're then going to set a password for your account. And once you get these two items in, the very next thing that's going to happen is you got to prove you're not a robot. So what's going to happen is you can either choose call me or text me. Office 365 will either call you or text you a confirmation number. A PIN number. It's going to be 6 characters long. And on the next page, you'll enter that in. Once you've done that, you'll see, okay, everything is set up and you are good to go. Now, once you get to there, that means you've been verified and you're ready to start setting up your Office 365 tenant. So when you click the arrow to continue, you're going to end up here. Now, what you've got here is basically a whole bunch of setting up tiles. This is normal. It could take as much as 24 hours to complete the setup process. Now, that's in reality, no, it doesn't take that long. Most of these tiles will become active within anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. There are instances, for example, when I was setting this particular tenant up, it did take a few hours to be able to access some of the Exchange server settings that come along with this particular subscription. So don't be concerned if when you set things up initially that you don't have access to email right away, your mailbox right away. You might have to give it some time. But some of the things that we can do while this process is going on is what we're going to cover now. If you'll notice in the upper left, there's a checkerboard. If you go up there, click on that, scroll down, you'll find the tile that says Admin. That's the one we want. That will bring up your admin page with all your admin menu on the left. And as you open this up, you'll see tooltips. I would recommend you read those tooltips because it gives you some indication as to what each of these sections will do. Now from there, we want to go to Setup, and then we want to go to Domains, because right now you can see the only domain in there is the howtoit001. That's not going to work for our business. We want a domain that's unique to us. And so what we're talking about in terms of terminology is we want a Vanity domain. So where do you get a Vanity domain? Well, there's a number of registrars out there. There's GoDaddy, there's Register.com, there's Wild West Domains, and they all have their ways where you can go in and you can purchase a domain that is perhaps unique to your company. Because that's what we want to use here. Because in the end, you're going to use this to run your business. So we want a domain that will reflect that business. It could be like the one I'm going to be using here shortly, which is sfla-life.org. And that way, you can set it up so that when your users log into the tenant, they'll use that login as well as that email address to communicate with customers and vendors alike. Once you've gone and you purchased your Vanity domain, now you need to verify it within Office 365. Now, how did we do that? Well, we just type the domain that we've purchased into the edit box here, and you click Next. Office 365 will determine what needs to happen next. It could be something as simple as, oh, I see it's a GoDaddy domain. How about we let Office 365 set the DNS records for you? And that's one of the options you see here, because my Office 365 vanity domain in here, sfla-life.org, is registered with GoDaddy. If you use GoDaddy to register your vanity domain, because of the relationship between Office 365 and GoDaddy, well, you can use this method to basically, or step one, verify your domain so that Office 365 is sure that you own it and you have control over it and you're not trying to rip off somebody else's vanity domain. That's the verification process. And then from there, you can actually use this same process again to go in and set up all of your DNS records that are going to be required for not only email but also for Skype for Business and some of the other services that you utilize DNS records to facilitate connections. Now, if you haven't used GoDaddy to purchase your vanity domain, it's okay. What will happen is you'll get a complete list of all the DNS records that you need, and you can use that particular page to then go and update individual DNS records, as you see here, with your registrar. It's a matter of, you can do copy and paste. It'll tell you what the record type is, as well as what the values should be. So if you're unsure about that, your registrar should be able to help you with completing the DNS entry. But in terms of what we're looking at here, it's just a matter of cut and paste, or copy and paste actually. So it's not that complicated to set up. Okay, so we've got our DNS records all set up. All the DNS records are in there. We've changed our mail flow. Now, let's kind of fix the users now. Right now, you have to log in with a username of howtoit001.onmicrosoft.com. Well, that's a bit much. Why don't we change it to the vanity domain, sfla-life.org. Well, this is how you do it. You edit, it's a drop down, and once you select the vanity domain, you have to confirm, and then once you confirm, voila, you're logged out, and then you're given the opportunity to log back in, now using the vanity domain. Okay, so we've got our vanity domain installed. We have our users set up to use the default domain now, which is the vanity domain. We've got all of our DNS records set up, so we should be good to go. Now, one of the things that I typically do when I set up a new tenant is I go in and I check and make sure that mail flow is working properly. So let's click on Mail, and it should take us to OA. And yep, look at there. Test email that I sent from another account, there it is. So now we can confirm that email is flowing properly to our account. So let's go back to the Admin Center here. And I'm just going to briefly go through some of the things that you're going to find on the Admin Center, things that are going to be of importance to you. You've got over here, you've got Health, which when you look at Health, you'll see Service Health and Message Center. Service Health will tell you the different statuses of all the services within your Office 365 tenant. Looks like I've got an advisory on this one here for the Office 365 portal. When you click on it, it gives you a brief indication of what it is, but you can also pull up details. And these details will give you when it started and when the next update is on this particular issue. Something else that's nice is you've got the Message Center. The Message Center is going to show you all the things that are happening that are new to your tenant. For example, look at everything that's been updated to this particular tenant fairly quickly. Now, this is a great place to come and look and see if you've read something online of a new service coming to Office 365. Is it included in your tenant yet? Well, this is a great place to come and look and see, because Microsoft doesn't roll out updates and upgrades to all servers all at once. They roll them out. in batches. And so just because you've read in a magazine or in an online article of a new feature in Office 365 doesn't necessarily mean that it's installed in your particular tenant yet. To know for sure, you can come here and take a look. Now down here, we have Admin Center. One of the things I wanted to show you here is Exchange. Now, this one took about, I guess, about 18 hours for me to be able to pull up Exchange Online Admin Center. It took a while. And one of the things that is important about this particular section here is some of the things you can do. For example, you got a list of mailboxes. You can set up groups. You can set up resources, contacts, etc. We're going to go into more detail on this particular section when we cover Exchange Admin Center, to where I'll give you some more details on what you can do here. There's some wonderful things here too. For example, resources, shared mailbox. I tell you what, if you're a small business and you want to look like a big corporate, shared mailboxes is the way to go, because you can set up a mailbox for the sales department, for HR, for marketing, for production, and those are unlicensed. You don't have to worry about buying licenses for them, and then you can have them linked to a paid account, a licensed account, so that someone can monitor those shared mailboxes on a regular basis. So there's a lot to offer here. There's a lot of things that we can do with Office 365, and these are some of the things that we're going to cover as we move forward. I hope this was helpful. Like I said, there's a lot of information that can be covered. I didn't want to make this too long because we could spend hours here, and I really don't think that you would want to spend hours going over this. So we're going to split it up into small little chunks so that you can take it in bits and pieces and get comfortable and familiar with the software that way. With respect to the DNS records, it really is just a matter of copy and paste. Once you look at the named server interface at your registrar, you'll see what I mean. You can set up different type of records. You'll have CNAME records, you'll have A records, you'll have service records. The main ones that you're going to be dealing with Office 365 there's a couple of service records, and then there's CNAME records. So it's not that complicated, but if it seems a little over your head, then by all means you can either use the need help within Office 365 to have someone walk through it with you, or you can contact your registrar, and they're more than happy to work with you on setting up your DNS records. In terms of some of the other things, it's not typical that it takes 18 hours for the Exchange Admin Center to become available. I've seen it happen a lot quicker than that. It's just on this particular instance, it did take a little bit of time. So my advice on this is, if everything is not set up right away, don't go to help immediately. Do what you can within the tenant to get things set up, and then come back the next day. If after 24 hours the admin center is not up, or you're not getting email like you think you should, then by all means use that need help widget in the lower right of your admin center, and it's a great service, because what will happen is when you click on that, put your phone number in, type in the issue you're having, an agent, a concierge ambassador, will call you back within 10 minutes and work with you on fixing whatever it is that's giving you some difficulties. But hopefully you won't have that problem, because hey, you're going to learn everything you need to know right here at How to IT. Until next time, take it easy.